Elon recently got asked a question on Twitter about how many hours it takes to change the world. It's a question he gets asked fairly frequently, and his response doesn't seem to change much. His reply? 80 sustained hours peaking above 100 at times. Pain level increases exponentially above 80. There are even interviews where Musk claims to be working over 120 hours a week.
I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100 hour weeks every week.
That seems a little intense. So it got me thinking, how many hours a week does it really take to change the world? Is Elon right? Elon has been able to build some pretty impressive companies, all with the goal of improving and sustaining the future of humanity. That's a big ideal. Just recently, Neil deGrasse Tyson called him the most important person in tech. In order to push technology further, in order to push any field further, to be an innovator, you need to be an outlier in some regard. You have to have some kind of competitive advantage. You can't do what everyone else does because you'll just get what everyone else gets. Gary Vaynerchuk often talks about this idea. If you want to live a 1% life, you have to do 1% things.
Spend the 3 or 4 hours to learn it because it seems like there's so much. You have to realize when you're asking to live a 1% life that you need to do 1% things.
It's a sentiment echoed by a number of elite performers and successful entrepreneurs. Over 25 years of filming The Oprah Show, Oprah never missed a day of work. Will Smith, on the other hand, often talks about his insane work ethic and the ability to outwork everyone he's in competition against. While Mark Cuban didn't take a vacation for 7 years while starting Micro Solutions. The list goes on and on.
You want the secret? It's called work.
Clearly, there's a trend here, and it's not just about working smart, it's working hard. It's working hard and smart. But 80 to 100 hours, really? Is 80 to 100 hours really sustainable? What about health? What about life? I've been obsessively reading and studying productivity and creativity for a while now, and I've come to realize the answer to that question is, it depends. It depends on what you mean by work. It also depends on how you work. I think media strategist and author Ryan Holiday describes it best in a title to an article he wrote in 2013. I work all the time, and that's a good thing. In the article, Holiday talks about how he views his time spent reading, running, and even talking with friends as work. Why? Because he's actually working. In his head. He's conceptualizing ideas, he's solving problems, he's formatting entire essays and articles in his head. It of course takes some discipline and practice to be able to do this with increased clarity. There might also be something here to say about the quality of your friends, the quality of your team, and the types of conversations you're having. Ryan also talks about the concept of deep work, a term coined by Newport. He's the author of the book of the same name. According to Cal, deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It's a skill that allows you to quickly master complicated information and produce better results in less time. It's essentially the time you set aside to focus on demanding tasks, the tasks that can help you change the world. Writing a book or script, composing music, working on a theory, researching cutting-edge technology, that kind of thing. What's interesting is that in addition to doing deep work in the office, Cal often talks about the extra time spent doing deep work outside of the office. He sometimes calls this deep thinking. But in order to engage in deep thinking, you need to have a dedicated problem to think about. There must be something you're actively trying to solve, a conundrum, an undecidable task, as Newport calls it. These tasks include things that don't necessarily have concrete steps. Things like coming up with media strategy, solving a complex proof, coming up with a business idea. The thing about deep thinking is it can be done while commuting, walking the dog, swimming, or even taking a walk along the beach. My guess is that this is probably what some of the most successful people do, those world changers. They're obsessive. They're challenging themselves all the time. In addition to deep work in the office, they're always thinking about an undecidable task that they're trying to achieve. This probably is something that frequently leads to the state of flow. In order to achieve flow, you need intense and focused concentration, loss of self-consciousness, a challenging task that matches your level of skill, and feedback on the task. Deep work and deep thinking make it much easier to enter flow. Flow states lead to a deep fulfillment and can be addictive. According to psychologist Csikszentmihalyi, it is a state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience is so enjoyable that people will continue to do it even at a great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. This probably makes working 80 to 100 hours a week really easy, or at least easy. Elon hints at this in the follow-up to his tweet. Richard Branson puts it really well. I don't think of work as work or play as play. It's all just living. Why does he say this? Because work probably is fun. That's what flow state does. Don't get me wrong, there are many times when you just need to slug through a hard problem in order to achieve a result. It's just the price you have to pay. 100% slugging all the time with no flow states or belief in what you're doing though, for the rest of your life, now that's a problem. Sleep is still important. Play and daydreaming can improve your creative insights. It's all about being intentional. It's what you do with your time that matters. Jeff Bezos works incredibly hard, but he prioritizes 8 hours of sleep a night.
I get 8 hours of sleep. I prioritize it. Unless I'm traveling in different time zones, sometimes it's impossible, but I am very focused on it.
Ariana Huffington repeatedly talks about the importance and benefits of sleep. And while Gary Vee works intensely through the week, he talks about taking time on the weekends and taking weeks off specifically for vacation. In the end, it's all about self-awareness, finding the mix of interests, challenges, and recovery periods that can lead you to flow states, peak performance, and optimal experiences.